Good morning. It's the 30th of January 2014. We're meant to be being picked up today and taken out to the NASA Space Center. Hopefully everything goes to plan. It'd be nice to have something actually work out for the last time hanging out with Michael. So we're going to be downstairs soon having breakfast, and then hopefully the bus is going to pick us up.
We're going down to breakfast today. So what's the plan, Roger?
Well, just after 9 o'clock we've got to wait out the front, and hopefully the bus will pick us up.
Hopefully. Speaking of the elevator.
Come on. Here's my breakfast for today. Mikey's still cooking his waffles. So we're going to eat this and then we're going to wait out the front for our bus. You going to eat all that?
Yep. But I want them to look at my waffle this time.
Oh, we got a round one today with a little leaf on it.
Apparently this is the Hilton symbol.
Okay. We're just here in the lobby sitting by the fireplace.
That's a real fireplace, by the way.
You reckon?
Helicopter. I have no clue who to pick up now.
We just stopped at the Western to pick up some more people, I think.
Powered events you really love. Scramble and Button Busted. Just $18 buys you the Continent Rodeo. Plus, get you into the Rover ticket.
This area, this is our downtown district, our financial district. And we're going to start in a second, okay? This area, this is over here to your left, this is the Toyota Center. That is the home of our Houston Rockets, our professional basketball team. It was built in 2003 and for $236 million, and Toyota, just to put their name on the building, they paid $100 million. And this is the Toyota Center, home of our Houston Rockets, and it's obviously used also for public events or private concerts. And you know, people from Beyonce, which is from Houston, or Madonna, Lady Gaga, Justin Timberlake, Justin Bieber, or any other one that is not named Justin, they also play there. But it's one of the three new stadiums that in the last 10 years had opened here in the downtown area. Houston, it's over 600 square miles. So as you can see, it's a very spread out city. And we are almost 6 million people. This hotel over here to your right is the Hilton Americas, which is the largest hotel in the city. It's owned by the city and it's leased by Hilton. And it's the major hotel that works in conjunction with the convention center. The convention center is that white building ahead of us that looks like a steamboat, with red, white, and blue. And I don't know if you guys remember about 7 or 8 years ago when Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans. A lot of people from New Orleans, they moved to Houston, so that building, that convention center, was used as a shelter for thousands and thousands of survivors in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. This convention center, it's 11 city blocks. It's over 1.5 million square feet of meeting and exhibition space. And also, obviously, you know, big companies like Microsoft or Hewlett Packard or even Starbucks, they celebrate the World Conventions here. So that is the George R. Brown Convention Center. George R. Brown, he was a civic leader. He was a philanthropist, and he was a engineer. He had the vision and the ambition of bringing something big to the city that eventually was going to bring a lot of business. But over here to your left, you're going to see a lot of expressions of art, like that sculpture right there. That is from a French artist, Jean Dubuffet. That is called the Phantom. It's right in front of the Discovery Green Park. Discovery Green, it's a urban park that was created a few years ago with the idea of attracting people to come and play in the downtown area. And they have a little lake there, and during the winter, for example, as you can see over there where it says ice, they transform part of that lake into a ice skating rink. And that little lake during the summer, you can even rent kayaks. So it's pretty cool because they have you know, a little stage there. They perform musicals, or in the mornings they have Zumba lessons or yoga classes. So it's that used to be no more than just a parking lot, a concrete parking lot, and they transform it into that beautiful urban park. And believe it or not, there's about 5 levels of parking underneath. So that helped a lot for the convention center as well. The majority of the buildings that you guys are going to see here in the downtown area are either oil companies, energy, government offices, theaters, and hotels. Here in Houston, we have 3 major areas. One of them is our commercial district, which is the Galleria, where you're going to find all the high-end hotels and stores and restaurants. And the other big area is obviously this one, our financial district. And the other big area is the medical district that happens to be the largest medical center in the world. But right here to your right, this is the Annunciation Church. Looks pretty new, but it was built in 1860. Houston was built in 1836 by the Allen brothers. The Allen brothers were a pair of brothers that came from New York, and they started building the communities here, even knowing that this was somebody else's land, because less than 200 years ago, this used to be Mexico. So when the Mexican government found out about all this revolution going on in these territories, they sent out the troops. And they sent out General Santana, and but unfortunately General Santana, he was a very arrogant man. He thought himself as the Napoleon of the West, so he didn't do his job right. So that is when Sam Houston stepped up and he fought Santana, defeated him, and after that Texas became a independent nation. But over here to your right, that is our Union Station, our old train depot, and back in the 1900s, more than 16 different companies used to go through this Union Station. But the last train left the station more than 45 years ago. So the city, instead of tearing down this beautiful building to build a new baseball park, what they did, they transformed it into the beautiful entrance of the new park. And the new park, they make it look like an old-fashioned train station. So this is the home of our Houston Astros, a professional baseball team. Has a retractable roof, seats over 40,000 people inside, has natural grass. And for some reason, the grass, they bring it all the way from Argentina. And see that train machine that is in that wall? Every time they score a home run or they win a game, which is never, that machine goes back and forth and makes noises while that. So it's really cool, really cool. And even if you don't like the sport, just to be there, you have a lot of fun. So that is called Minute Maid Park because Coca-Cola bought the rights to put their name on. This used to be called Enron Field. Now we're going into the courthouses and the jails. Actually, this gentleman with orange, they're prisoners. And they're part of this court district. You're going to see a lot of bail bond companies. And the majority of the buildings that you're going to see on the right-hand side are prisons. And the reason the courts and the prisons are in the same area is because first they want to reduce costs of transportation and also reduce the risk. So there's over 12,000 inmates around this area. But it's very secure, because actually there's a tunnel system in between the jails and the courthouses. So over here to your left, you're going to see this beautiful building, which is the old Harris County Courthouse. Building 1910.
Don't know, mate.
And that building is surrounded by those beautiful live oaks, 100-year live oaks. The original clock when the City Hall was located here back in the 1830s. And the City Hall was located in the second floor of a fish and meat market, which wasn't very appropriate, so they decided to move the City Hall somewhere else. You're going to get to see the City Hall in a moment. But this is the area where the Allen brothers, the founders of the city, they decided to build their own, their own first businesses. And over there across the street, actually, that's the first Market Square. They used to have a open-air produce market. And right here to your right, you're going to see an old brick building. This is La Carafe, right here to your right. That is the oldest commercial building still in use. Building 1860. It used to be a bakery. It's now a wine and beer bar. And the cool thing about it is that, for example, at night, they kill all the lights, the electricity, and everything is done by candlelight. And they have a big collection of more than 40 different types of beers. And they don't accept cash. Everything is, they don't accept credit card. Everything is cash. And they still use the old cash register that only rings up to $9. And all that, it's everything inside is original. So it's like stepping back in time. It's really, really cool. It's called La Carafe.
We should go there.
But over here to your left, there's a big brown building that says Rice Hotel on the roof. That is a place where late President John F. Kennedy spent his last evening before he traveled to Dallas when he got shot back in the 60s. He pronounced his last public speech. As Kennedy, he was a visionary man. He was talking about the future. He was talking about bringing the space program to Houston. But unfortunately, next day he had that fateful flight to Dallas, and everything else is history. But Houston has been very, very important for the space program. And Kennedy was the one who started it all back in the 60s. It's the Chase Tower. It's 75 stories high. And this building was designed by the same architect that designed the pyramid in front of the Louvre Museum in Paris. And that very colorful sculpture that you see there, that is from a Spanish artist, Jean Miro. And that's supposed to represent a gentleman sitting there with birds flying around his shoulders. So that's modern art. You figure it out yourself. Yes. You know, Melbourne or many other big cities around the world. What do you see different here? What do you see different?
Glass buildings.
There are a lot of glass buildings, very open, very big, very clean. We don't have graffiti. What else? What else? There's not that much traffic like normally you have in the downtown area.
True.
And the most important thing?
Trees?
No. We don't have people. There's no people on the street. Very, you know, there's not that much foot traffic like you see in New York. And the reason is because we have a tunnel system. 20 feet underground, we have 7 miles of tunnels that connects 90 city blocks. And underground, you can find all sorts of businesses. Normally, the business that you see at street level, like the flower shops, restaurants, doctor's office, shoe repair, all those businesses are down on the tunnels. So 20 feet underground, it's a net of 7.5 miles of tunnels. And the funny thing about those tunnels is that there's no outside access to the tunnels, so that's why you don't see people coming in and out. And the only access to the tunnels is through the buildings. You go inside the lobby, go down the escalator, and that will connect to the tunnels. And they're only open Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. All right? So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to stop over here on the right, and we're going to go across the street so I can take you to the City Hall. And so you can see the Visitor Center. And if you want to buy a snack or a drink, you're welcome to bring it to the bus. And I'll give you a little bit more information about our city, all right?
Here is Mr. Sam Houston. He was the first president of the Republic of Texas, and we also stayed in the Sam Houston Hotel. So, that's the guy the hotel was named after.
Houston, we have liftoff.
Of a courthouse, so that is the old Hanging Oak. So there's recording that at least 11 criminals were hanged from that tree back in the day.
How old
where
is the tree?
450 years old. All right, and over here to your left, this is our downtown Aquaria.
Nice.
It's a little amusement park that has a permanent fair. Has a little tram tour for the kids to go around the little park, and they have a really good seafood restaurant. Where everything started for the city back in 1836. And down there's a little river that is called the Buffalo Bayou River. And it's where the Allen brothers started building the first river port and eventually the first market square. And like I was saying, the majority of the buildings you're going to see from here are either oil, energy, hotels, government offices, and theaters. The big brown building with the 3 levels, that is the Bank of America. The green building, the tall building on the right, that is the Wells Fargo Bank. And those cylinder buildings that you see way in the back over there, those are the former Enron buildings. Now they're part of Chevron. And over here ahead of us, you're going to see 7 columns. Those columns are to commemorate the 150th birthday of the city. A local artist put together a group of kids. They were born in 1986 when the city was celebrating the 150th birthday. And he got them to draw those panels and to represent, you know, what they, their eyes, for them was the 7 wonders of the world. So they represented, very important areas of our city, like medicine or philanthropy or engineering, agriculture or commerce, and many others. So this artist put together all those pieces of those drawings, and he created this columns that are called the Seven Wonders. So I think that is really, really cool. Coming up over here to your left, you're going to see a sculpture, a white sculpture that is called Virtuoso. It is from a local artist, Michael Addix, and that is to commemorate the 100th birth of the Houston Orchestra. And in a moment, on the left-hand side, you're going to see the Jesse Jones Hall for the Performing Arts, which is the home of our Houston Orchestra. Right here to your left, this is the Jesse Jones Hall for the Performing Arts. And over here to your right, this is the Bayou Place. This is where we have our Hard Rock Cafe and many other venues. And for example, over there to your right, we have the Sundance Cinemas, which is the Robert Redford's Sundance Cinemas. You can dine and also you can watch a movie at the same time there. It's really, really cool.
Hey, we're here.
Angry Birds.
Right, we're trying to find the tram tour right now. We missed a tram, so we've got to wait for the next one, which is at 12 o'clock. So we got to make sure we're back here on time. But let's go on now. Let's have a look. Hop in.
It's like a photo thing.
Sit down. Insert. You have to insert $5.
I don't have $5.
Michael, this is a life-size replica of the Curiosity, which is currently on Mars. It's got these wheels to get around with. That's that tread to get around on the planet's hostile surface. And they want to put people on Mars in the next few years. It's a one-way trip. You want to go?
Nope.
They pay you well.
Nope.
There's nothing to buy on Mars, but they'll pay you well.
No.
So you'd actually sit in this and you'd actually look out and see the Earth. But instead we're just seeing the inside of the museum. They've got some spacesuits down here, I'll show you. Another one.
Outfitted the International Space Station's new space storage. Its first
You see those panels up there? They would actually be solar panels that give power to the craft when they're in outer space. And I don't know what that thing is. It looks pretty cool, but there's no zero gravity, so you can't get a real feel for what it's like. You don't see Michael bouncing off the walls. I think they try to simulate it by underwater or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we're not doing
Here
that,
it is.
unfortunately. Oh, space food.
Don't eat it.
Potatoes. Before they did their first trip into outer space, they would have had to have thought of all of this. You can't just open like a can of Coke and go, whoops, I should have thought about that. I don't think this one needs much explanation. And we're looking at the flight deck right now.
I presume this is where they control the shuttle.
Yep, and they would have like sat in these for takeoff. We'd be sitting vertical if we were about to take off, but we're horizontal right now. These switches,
Which you cannot touch.
oh, you can't anyway. You would have had to learn what every single one of these switches is for. Like it'd be worse than trying to fly a plane.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people going to be on this tram tour.
Including me.
Yes. Right, Mike and I are on a tram. We're doing a tour of NASA. It's very crowded on here. I'll try to get as much footage as I can. We're leaving soon, I think. Yep.
Before we depart, I need to go over a few safety precautions with you. If you have a child who is 3 years of age or younger, please have them in the lap of an adult at this time. If you have a child whose feet do not quite reach the floor, try to have them in the middle of a row between two adults if at all possible. This is a non-eating, non-smoking tram. However, if you do have a drink with a lid, that is perfectly acceptable. At this time, I'm going to need y'all to look at the back of the row directly in front of you. So right above your knees in the center, you will see a row number. Make sure y'all memorize that row number, because as you can see, we do have a very full tram and we're going to need everyone to return to their exact same seats after each of our stops. Once again, your row number is right above your knees in the middle, and we will need everyone to return to their exact same seats after each stop. And last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, our wonderful driver Danny is coming by handing out boarding passes. Make sure you'll hold on to the boarding passes. Those are for security purposes while on the federal government property, and they are not souvenirs, so we will be collecting them again at the very end of the tour. So make sure you'll hold on to them in an area that's easily accessible so that we can pick them up later.
And we're off.
Alrighty guys, so as we head out, if you look out to the right, that first thing you may have noticed pulling into the parking lot is the space shuttle we have out there. Now that is not an actual shuttle. That one was not built to fly, it was built for training. So the astronauts are trained on that shuttle over in Florida at the Kennedy Space Center. And when we retired the space shuttle program, Florida got a real shuttle, so they sent that one over to us. We are planning on having a 747 space shuttle carrier put underneath it, and then once we do that, which should be done in about a year or two, we will be able to have tours going through inside the shuttle and inside the carrier. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are now on federal government property here at the Johnson Space Center. First off, if y'all look out to your left, you can see that field of cows and longhorn. I'm going to talk about that later at the very end of the tour. Just want to point out so you know those are there. Once again, that will be the very last thing I talk about today. So as we head down this way, I would like to let you know that we do not have the launch pad here in Houston. The launch pad is actually in Florida at the Kennedy Center, and then here in Houston we have the astronaut training and mission control. Both facilities do plenty of other things as well. However, that's the most basic and most well-known of what we do. Kennedy Center also does training. They handle a lot of engineering work as well, which we also handle some of. But basically, they have the launch pad and the vehicle assembly, and we have astronauts and mission control. Now if y'all look out to the right, you will see a large gray metal building. That building out to your right houses a Saturn V rocket. The rocket is 363 feet long, and when full of fuel, it weighed over 6 million pounds. Right now, however, it only weighs roughly 2 million. This rocket is a real rocket. It was supposed to be used for Apollo 18. However, we learned that we did not have the budget for it before we were able to begin fueling. So it was given to us to put on display. And now to your right outside, you can see two smaller rockets. We have the little Joe 2, which is on the yellow stand. Now, Joe is a miniature version of the Saturn V, which we use to test its systems, including the launch abort system. So you can see the capsule at the top of little Joe 2, and then there's the miniature rocket up on the very tip. Those miniature rockets are the launch abort systems, and those can only be used on the launch pad. If there's something going wrong with the rocket, those can fire and pull the capsule and the people inside away. After launch, in less than 2 minutes, it's going too fast for that to be able to pull them, so those are ejected after about 90 seconds. The smaller rocket with the black and red tip is the Mercury Redstone used for the Mercury missions, which were commanded out of Florida. That rocket is a ballistic missile that they took the warhead out of and put an astronaut inside. Now again, those missions were commanded out of Florida. The reason we put mission control in Houston is, well, we actually have three big reasons. For one thing, Houston is right on the Gulf of Mexico, so it's easy for us to ship things to and from the facility in Florida. Also, ladies and gentlemen, because Rice University actually owned this land, and they were offering it to us at a very low price. And finally, Lyndon B. Johnson was vice president at the time, and he was actually from Austin, Texas. So he put a lot of political pressure on having the facility here in Texas.